Hi guys, Sam from Everything PSP here. Today I wanted to do something a bit different and quickly take you guys through the journey as I repaired one of the PSPs that I've built for a viewer. Now this is the PSP 2000 subscriber commission that we had earlier on the channel, and sadly it has actually malfunctioned. Now this was a problem with the motherboard. This motherboard was purchased on Aliexpress, and I'll get into the details a bit later in the video, but basically it bricked itself and there's no way to recover except for flashing the EEPROM, and I just didn't have time. So what we're going to do today is basically completely strip the PSP back and take the faulty motherboard out, and we're going to replace that with one that we've got from a donor PSP. Now luckily this one I'm showing you here does have a good motherboard. This PSP has its own problems. The UMD drive doesn't work, the buttons don't work, and it also doesn't charge, but luckily I can fix those things. So I'm just testing with a battery, making sure that the PSP runs, and I can see that there is some more work that needs doing. Now this video is just a really quick overview. I'm not going through the entire process because there was some soldering that I had to do off camera, also including the Wi-Fi switch, which I had to hardwire on because the switch itself had actually corroded on the donor board. So now that we're opening the donor console, it's a very similar process to what you've seen in other videos of mine. I'm going to undo the screws and remove the faceplate, and once that's off we'll be able to get in and get the donor motherboard out of the console. I really just wanted to make this video to show you guys a little bit more behind the scenes, and also just to talk about, talk about the responsibility that you have as a repairer. If you are offering that service to customers and something goes wrong, it's your responsibility to then have a look and see what caused the problem, and if it's a fault to do with something that you've done, you need to follow through and repair that, which is what we've done here for Blake today. So now I'm just removing all the connectors from the donor motherboard. You'll notice they do look a little bit different on camera. This one is more of a blue color, the old one was green. There are different revisions of these boards. Some are better than others for different things, but I won't get into the details here and there. But basically this is off an Australian PSP, and we're going to use this to repair and replace the Chinese motherboard that we took out. Now I guess this is probably as good a time as any to discuss the situation with ordering motherboards from Aliexpress. Now this one I was told was working, and when I received the motherboard everything seemed to be okay, at least from initial testing, but what my customer found is that after using it not even for a couple of hours of regular use, it actually bricked itself, or there was some sort of error on the circuit board that meant that it could no longer restart into the operating system. Following the standard recovery procedures on custom firmware didn't render any results, so we decided that the best option was to find a donor PSP and basically to strip any parts that we needed from that to repair his console. I would be very cautious to recommend ever getting a second-hand motherboard again, as it was rather expensive, and to be fair it cost us about the same price as buying a broken PSP anyway. And you'll find that a lot of PSPs that people are selling which are broken, quote unquote, actually just have something simple like a screen issue, or perhaps the charging fuse is blown. Then I find you're more likely to have success buying a couple of broken PSPs and stripping them for parts as required than just buying the actual component you need straight off AliExpress. Now I haven't tried other suppliers or other websites like Amazon or eBay. Being in New Zealand, our options are a little bit limited in terms of local retailers, but we also use a website called TradeMe, which is a local auction website as well. So now we've got the donor motherboard back into the new PSP, and we're just fiddling around with some of the buttons and controls, making sure that it's all fitting nicely and getting those ribbon cables all squared away. This process in reality took me about 2 hours, mostly because I did, as I said earlier, I had to take the motherboard off screen to solder a couple of points. Now I was thinking about getting that on film, but to be fair it's actually quite fiddly, and I was really just focused on making sure that Blake would be receiving a working PSP. So this little metal bracket at the top here as well is actually a component I didn't fit in the previous video. Someone pointed that out, so I've made sure to fit that bracket. It just holds the screen a little bit more level and square and keeps it off the motherboard there. But we're getting close to the end of the build now, so the last steps are just to put the remaining components on. We're just going to put the speakers on, add the button pads, screw everything down, making sure it works, and then put it back together. So I just thought I'd maybe also talk about the future of my channel. It has been a pretty rough year, so it's been hard getting content out for you guys, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to improve my facilities in terms of the way that I actually produce videos at the moment is very labor intensive. It's probably not really the most streamlined way that I can do things. I'm recording the screen footage on one laptop, then I'm editing it on my phone, using a different Mac again for the streaming. You know, there's a few things that I'm trying to work out in terms of streamlining that process to get a bit more video production consistency on the channel, but then also coming up with more ideas of what's actually engaging for you guys to see. So if there's any suggestions, you know, I always say on my videos, please let me know, and I really do mean that. I appreciate your guys' feedback and your commentary. If there's anything you feel like I can improve to help the channel, or if you think that there's something that you want to see, you want me to cover, you know, I'm really happy to take your suggestions. Even if there's a game that you want me to have a try of and let you guys know, maybe do a bit of a review. Yeah, you know, all these kinds of things. I'm very happy to work with you guys to tailor the content to whatever you guys want to see. And yeah, I just again want to say thank you to everybody for helping this channel grow to where it's gotten to. It's been quite an interesting journey with YouTube. Obviously, it's not something that I've had any prior experience with, so it's been quite a learning curve. And I'm just hoping to go and continue with the success we've had so far and really grow the channel into something special. So that's pretty much it from me really today. You can see now we are successfully rebuilt, and we're putting the official firmware 661 and then custom firmware 661 Pro C2. Basically, we've restored the console in its entirety back to its original function, and you'll see here when we reset, we'll just go through and preview some of the games that we've had on the system through emulators and flash ROMs, that kind of thing. So if there's any questions you guys have about your console, if there's something that you are trying to fix, or if you want some help trying to source parts for your PSP, let me know in the comments below. If I don't know, I can help you find out. And also, really a good place to recommend to check out is r/PSP on Reddit. There's a huge community there. I get a lot of my information from them, and I'm normally on there, so if you want to interact with me more on a one-on-one basis, just look for everything PSP on Reddit. I'll be there. I check every couple of days, so I'll be able to get back to your inquiries if you don't feel like commenting on YouTube. Anyway, that's about it from me today. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on Everything PSP.